Now, there was no shortage of protesters outside the High Court today as the start of a challenge against government plans for a third runway at Heathrow. 5 separate cases are being brought against the Transport Secretary by London's mayor, local authorities and environmental groups. They argue crucial evidence was ignored when the decision was made. Our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards, has more.
And it overflies 3 times as many people.
We get planes coming on all the time,
causing bronchial problems of pollution.
As ever, Heathrow expansion splits opinions and splits communities. Today outside the High Court, both sides wanted to make their point.
As planes get quieter, more people will travel. It's important for business.
We should not be putting a new third runway into one of the most polluted parts of the UK.
It provides jobs for the locals and for future generations.
Air quality over London is still in breach of the EU directive.
It is totally unrealistic to think that people are not going to want to keep on flying. There are going to have to be airports.
Hey, ho, ho! Heathrow's runway's got to go!
Against expansion, councils, environmental groups, the mayor and many residents. They think the government's decision backing a third runway is flawed.
Hundreds of communities, hundreds of homes in his area are going to be dismantled.
They say it didn't take into account the impact on air quality, climate change, noise and congestion.
Actually, there are other options available to us, and the benefits, the economic benefits, can be gained from other areas, both in particularly regional airport development, which will not only spread the economic benefits around the country, but also reduce the environmental impact.
Heathrow is the busiest airport in Europe, but it operates at capacity. The government says it will robustly defend its position, while supporters of expansion say a third runway is good for jobs and the economy.
Time of Brexit, when we've got so much economic uncertainty, we actually need that level of growth to ensure that Britain stays open. And locally, part of the reason that there's so much support is there's so many people that are employed there already.
A judge will now decide if the government's process was correct. This is the next stage in this long-running battle over this most controversial project.
OK, let's pick up now with Tom, who's in Harmondsworth. And Tom, that is one of the villages that would be affected by a third runway.
Yeah, that's right. Here in Harmondsworth, hundreds of homes would be destroyed if the third runway went ahead. And the edge of the runway would actually come up here as far as this line of parked cars. Let's talk to Geraldine Nicholson from Stop Heathrow Expansion. What's the feeling today amongst opponents? We have been here before.
We have. In 2010 we were in the High Court challenging Heathrow expansion. We're here yet again today, but we are confident. We are just as confident today as we were in 2010.
The environment has changed. Now we've got Brexit perhaps happening. What about the argument about jobs, about the economy, that the third runway is important for that?
We've been told the third runway is important. Jobs are being pushed as one of the main arguments. However, if you think about Terminal 5, thousands of jobs were promised with that. Another broken promise.
Are you optimistic then?
Very optimistic. We will keep going.
And if the judicial review isn't successful, what then?
There is a long, long way to go on this.
OK. Geraldine Nicholson, thanks very much. Well, as you heard there, still defiant here in Harmondsworth. This has got a long, long way to run. Back to you.
Many thanks, Tom.